I've been involved in Christian apologetics for a long time, certainly longer than I have been a pastor. And there have been some ups and downs in that time involved in apologetics as I have interacted with other apologists, as I've interacted with skeptics, reading apologetics books, writing apologetics books, working in this particular area. And there are times that I've been very excited about it and times that I just wanted to quit. And I need to say, the times that I wanted to quit were not because the skeptics were too hard or they had questions that I couldn't answer and so I felt discouraged. Rather, it has been the atmosphere and the culture within the Christian apologetics world. That's usually been what has made me want to quit the most. And I've been thinking a lot about Christian apologetics, and I see people say that the time for Christian apologetics is over, that there's no place for it in the church, and I know as a pastor that that is actually not the case. Just because some people are not interested in the topics that apologists discuss does not mean that there are no people who are struggling with that, whether they are seekers or Christians who have questions. And I think usually if Christians aren't asking questions, it's because they don't think the church is a safe place to ask those questions. But that could get me going on a whole other topic. So I want to talk about the kind of Christian apologetics that I want to be involved in, the kind that I'm most interested in. So what I'm not interested in is a Christian apologetic that is tied so closely to the culture wars between the conservatives and the liberals. I've had conversations where I'll say something and I'll say something that's true and I'll be rebuked by one of my more conservative friends who will say, well, that's not actually helpful for our culture war. You're giving the liberals too much of a toehold there and you can't do that. And there would be people to the left of me that probably would feel the same way in some of the things that I say. And so I'm not interested in this. I am not interested in promoting a certain kind of conservative culture that people somehow have wedded to the gospel. I'm just not interested in that. I'm also not interested in trying to defend every verse in the Bible. And that's a whole other thing about how we look at the Bible. I certainly have a high view of the Bible. I love the Bible. I have spent so much of my life studying the Bible. But I am really not interested in defending every single verse that is there. There are some that I'm just not interested in going there, and I just, other than the excitement of having the debate, I don't know why we would want to do that. But everyone else has to decide for themselves. I'm not interested in doing that. I really want to focus on things like the existence of God, and not proving the existence of God, but giving reasons why we should consider the existence of God. I'm interested in talking about Jesus. Like, I'm a Christian. I am not a professional theistic philosopher. I am a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus. That's what the center of my faith is. And so I want to talk about Jesus. I want to talk about the resurrection. I believe that that is central to the Christian faith. Those are the things that I'm really interested in talking about. I also want to go beyond the concept of certainty. There is this pressure, I think, that Christian apologists have, and I say this because I have felt this myself, that we have to be absolutely certain of everything. We have to prove everything beyond any shadow of doubt. And I don't think that that's actually the posture that we need. If anything, we should be just the ones who are creating the doubt in a more skeptical worldview to say, you know what? There's some good reasons to consider God. There's some good reasons to consider Jesus. And we're not proving it. We're just going to put something out there, and you can take a look at it. You can work through it, and you can accept it or not accept it. That's up to you. But I think that that is a better posture, at least for me, to be taking if I'm going to move forward in Christian apologetics. I'm also not interested in attacking people. Now, this might be a little bit surprising to some people because I do respond to people. The first book that I co-wrote, Unmasking the Pagan Christ, was a response to a specific person, Tom Harper. And if you go to my blog at stephenjbedard.com/blog, hint, hint, you'll see that I do respond to what some people say, whether they are Christians or non-Christians. And so I try to do that, but I try to do that without attacking the person. I do not have vendetta against anyone, really. It doesn't bother me that there are people who disagree with me. I might strongly disagree with a certain position, and I will share my reason for that. But I'm going to try to do that in the most respectful way that I can. Do I always live up to that ideal? No, I don't think so. I'm sure that I slip up. I say things that I shouldn't say. I blog at a time when I'm tired and I'm feeling grumpy and something comes out. That happens, of course. But I'm going to try. And the kind of Christian apologetics that I'm interested in is one that is not about attacking people, but creating space for ideas and to have conversations that will nudge people forward in faith. And a part of this as well is not attacking other Christian apologists. I've seen a lot of that. And that was probably the thing that really got me questioning the value of Christian apologetics when I saw how much time and energy was put not in terms of going after the new atheists or anything else like that, but by going after other Christian apologists who either emphasize something a little bit too much or don't emphasize something quite enough. And they might both be evangelical Christian theologians or apologists or philosophers or whatever, and yet they see each other as the enemy for some reason. And yes, we can have theological conversations and we should have these discussions, but we shouldn't be attacking each other. It really does not help. It actually hurts a lot. So I want to be an apologist who is working toward the truth. I actually see Christian apologists, especially when it's working in the fact-checking area, that's one of the best things. People say, Constantine came up with the Bible at Nicaea. Well, let's take a look at what happened at Nicaea. People will say, none of the early Christians thought of Jesus as God. That was a later thing that was invented centuries later. Well, let's take a look. What does the New Testament say? What do the early church fathers say? That there is no reason to believe that there was an empty tomb. And let's have a conversation about that. Let's look at what people are saying. With the internet, we have access to all kinds of information, but we also have access to a lot of misinformation as well. And so when we can work in those areas, I think things are going well. So that's my vision for Christian apologetics, and I hope that you will follow me on this journey. And if you're interested in what I have to say about apologetics, again, go to my website, stephenjbedard.com/apologetics, and you can see what I'm doing. And you can see what I did in the early days. You can see what I'm doing now. Maybe there's some changes. Maybe there are things that I wish I had said before or wish I hadn't said, but we move forward. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and visit me at my website. God bless.